Personal side of this has got to be, it's so rewarding and such a great thing that you're doing. And on the flip side, it's a lot to carry and a lot of responsibility. How do you juggle all that?
Well, I think that's pretty simple because God put me in this job. So I I definitely was seeking, what I wanted to do with my life, what I wanted to do while I was here on earth, and in a lot of prayer and searching for that, and just following where God led me. It ultimately led me here, and so that's the reason it's been successful. It's God has provided us with everything I have needed, sometimes even before knew I needed it. So it is just fallen into place like that. And that's really, I'm still as fulfilled and committed as I was from day one because it's still God led. Hi, I'm Dr. Kay Phillips. I am the CEO of the Kay Phillips Child Advocacy Center, and we are a children's advocacy center. We work with children when there's been an allegation of child abuse. So we provide the forensic interviews with the children where we're trained to do them in a non-leading fashion, just to find out what the child has experienced. Secondly, the medical university is here doing forensic medical exams, and they place that program here free of charge. We just give them space to have exam rooms to work with the children, and these are non-invasive medical exams to diagnose any sort of injuries, treat the injuries, and then just provide that child with the knowledge that their bodies are good and okay. We also provide a lot of trauma treatment. If the child has experienced trauma and they are exhibiting trauma symptoms, then we're going to gauge that and then we're going to treat it. We can't treat every child that we see, so we refer out to the Department of Mental Health as well as other therapists who are trauma trained. We have a lot of different programs that we offer peripheral to child abuse. We work with children when they have sexual behavior problems that, where they're getting in trouble or exhibiting sexual behaviors beyond their developmental level. And so we're in our program, if they successfully treat that program, we're able to extinguish those behaviors. And that's going to keep that child, of course, out of trouble and get them in a healthier perspective and then create less victims as well. We, again, there's so many programs that we provide. We do internet safety, we do body safety with smaller kids. It depends on the age group. We work with CSEC, commercial sexual exploitation of children. So we work with trafficking victims as well as kids who are at risk for trafficking. Um, there's just a myriad of programs that we offer, but it's all related to children's safety, whether it's from abuse and neglect or online predators or whatever. And we do healthy relationships for teenagers so that they can understand what a healthy relationship looks like versus a non-healthy relationship. We have an amazing staff here that work with kids every day, and they are passionate about helping. So we're just really proud of them.
Okay, can you tell us how does the process work? Like, is it a lot of intake workers or things like that, or I mean, how does it work? Like, and with that same question, like, can if someone like a parent or something had concerns, could they reach out to you directly, or is there an in between?
Okay, so both. If a parent's concerned and law enforcement or child protective services is not involved in them, they definitely can reach out to us and ask us questions and get some guidance on what they need to do. But we do have 4 intake workers, and that's in our back building where they are triaging calls every day, working with families, working with the investigative agencies in order to find out where that family needs to be when they make an appointment here and if it's appropriate for them to make one. So they're dealing with that every day, and then they'll send them to the right spot here, whether the child needs a forensic interview or whether they need a trauma assessment or therapy or whatever, a different program that we offer, and that's what they're doing every day here.
Okay, Kay, how long have you been doing this and how'd you get into this?
I've been doing this 22 years. The center opened, let's see, 7 months before I came in December of 2003. And so they were operating without a director and just trying to get a foothold in the community and get policies and procedures in place and just trying to develop the organization because the organization at that point in time was just beginning. So um, I knew some of the people who were on the board and just talked to them about the position and then decided that I would apply. And so then I met with the full board and they hired me, and I've been in here since 2004.
What kind of changes has gone from then to now? Like the growth of the
Well, the counties are growing, oh my gosh, leaps and bounds. And we serve all of Dorchester County. We serve a little bit of Charleston County, where the town of Summerville goes into Charleston County. And then we serve all of Berkeley County except Daniel Island. The CAC model, the Child Advocacy Center model, is what we follow, and an established model through the NCA, the National Children's Alliance. So there are over 950 CACs, or Child Advocacy Centers, in the United States, and in South Carolina there are 17 of us. Now, out of those 17, some of us have two locations. So we have a location here in Somerville, and then we also have one in Mott's Corner. So because some of us have two locations, there are probably about 32 actual CAC locations in the state of South Carolina, but only 17 entities, right? So we follow that national model, and to hopefully that a child doesn't have to drive anymore 30 minutes to get to a CAC for our resources.
What do you think that people don't realize at what you guys do? What is the misconception?
I think if child abuse or trauma has not affected your family, I think the biggest misconception is that it's not needed. And then, why do we exist? But the statistics are pretty clear, and 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday. In the United States, 1 in 7 children will have some form of abuse or neglect. So it's prevalent, and we need to address it. And the earlier we can get a child into the center and provide those services to the child and the family, the better off everyone's going to be, and it's going to help that full family functioning as far as the home is concerned. We have another program we have is Safe Babies Court, which is that infant to three population where that child's been removed from the home. And those families may have issues like substance abuse or mental illness or something like that. It has to be something that's workable, that we can intervene with the family. And we work with the court system, and there's a judge in Berkeley and a judge in Dorchester that strictly handle, well, they handle other cases too, but they're the only judge that handles the Safe Baby Court cases. And so we're working with DSS, who has the authority over the treatment plan, and then the judges, which have authority over the outcomes. And then we are facilitators for making sure that everybody's coming together on a regular basis and that we're facilitating what the family needs and making sure that that we're all working together and nothing falls through the cracks. So we're really happy about that. It's been proven to help children get back into the home or back into permanency sooner than the normal process. And if that means that, and hopefully that means that the parents are doing what they need to do as far as DSS is concerned and the judge is concerned, and they're getting their treatment, they're doing what they're supposed to do, and then that family will reunite. That's the hope. And of course, if that doesn't happen for some reason, then we want to make sure that child gets permanency so that that child gets that to form those bonding relationships and grows up in a healthy, happy environment.
Where do you see this going in 10 years from now in the future? Or where would you like to see it go?
Well, it's just gonna. I mean, we're such an essential need, and law enforcement, child protective services depend on us to provide these interviews. They're independent and non-leading, and we're child friendly, and they re- they they rely on us. The solicitor's office relies on us as well. So we're going to be here. I won't be here, but it will be here. The entity will be here, and it'll be here because as long as there are people, there are going to be issues, and we're going to need to help people navigate those issues. And the CAC is an entity that does that. Um, I'd like to see the biggest part of our organization be prevention. That's what my goal is to, before I leave, is to make sure that, I mean, we're already providing the critical services from day one, but what I want to see grow more than anything is the prevention so that we can prevent child abuse, we can prevent trauma before it happens. And if we can't get to it before it happens, if we can't reach uh, who we need to reach to stop it before for primary prevention, then let's stop the secondary prevention with secondary prevention programs and then on down the road. But we can, if we can get the children in here, if we can get the community to listen and to pay attention, then definitely prevention is where we need to be putting our efforts. We definitely have to address the critical issues, which we do every day. But if we can grow those prevention departments in Dorchester and Berkeley counties, then we can offset a lot of it and save a lot of people a lot of hurt.
Can you give advice for like the public people, like teachers or parents or neighbors? What are like some things they should be aware of or paying attention to?
Mm-hmm. I think we train teachers in that as well, and people who work with children in like how to recognize signs of abuse and neglect, how to respond to a child if a child discloses to you, and how to make a mandated report because anyone who works with children is a mandated reporter. And we also always have to err on the side of protecting the child. I think that's the biggest thing is to get those trainings, to make sure you understand what to look for. A child comes to school with bruises on their shins. That's normal. That's normal. Kids are active and they're probably just running into things. But depending on where those bruises are, those can be red flags. Maybe not, but maybe so. So we have to pay attention. And then pay attention to changes in a child's demeanor or their behavior or just what's their schoolwork or what's going on with them. Because when a child's behavior and demeanor and things like that changes, it could be a red flag that something has happened that they're trying to deal with. So just get those trainings and make sure you're understand child development. What's normal, what's not normal, and then if you see it, do something about it. Just talk to somebody, get some advice, and do something about it. Report it if you need to report it. No one wants to call law enforcement or child protective services into a family's life if it's unwarranted. But if it's warranted, we need to help the child and then hopefully help the family in general. So.
What do you say to those people who want to be involved here? How can they be involved?
Well, I think, with a child advocacy center, confidentiality is utmost. We really don't utilize volunteers simply because everything we do here is by appointment. So there's really nothing. We obviously want to protect the child's confidence. So we don't allow volunteers to work in the center. The only thing that we really rely on volunteers for sometimes is to help with an event. If we have an event that we need hands-on, and that wouldn't again be with the children, it would be a fundraising event for us to raise money. And then just to support us. I mean, our budget's a little over 3 million this year. It'll go up next year. As the counties become more populated, our services are more in demand. We're getting ready to expand our Berkeley Center, so we're working on that now. So, we're like every nonprofit. Money is always the issue. We have 3 different programs for people who want to give something tangible, like Christmas gifts. or school supplies or toiletries that we keep here all the time. Those are things that people can do that are, they're small, but they're powerful, So we do that and we have those events and just get our newsletter and see what we've got going on. Come to a luncheon. We do luncheons where periodically, we don't do them in the summer, but we do them where we give the public a tour of the center. We don't have any clients in at the time. Give them a tour of the center. We feed you breakfast or lunch or whatever time the luncheon is or the breakfast, and then I do a PowerPoint presentation where I talk about all of this and I talk about why we do it, what we do, and what happens if children don't get the treatment they need for trauma.
Well, is there anything I did not cover or I did not ask that you would like to share or let people know?
The only thing I would like to just emphasize is that children who've experienced trauma need treatment. They need to be taught how to deal with that trauma and how to deal with it in a positive way. If children don't get trauma, we see there's a study called the ACEs study, the Adverse Childhood Experiences study, and you can Google it, and it's a fascinating study. And in our booklet we talk about it. But it's where you have the adverse childhood experiences. Sometimes that could be, as for infants, disrupted neurodevelopment. If not, then or if or and not, then it could lead to, some uh, psychological issues, some emotional issues, some, um, you know, uh, emotional issues that they don't know how to control. And so a lot of times then that would lead to um, maybe some risky behaviors like drinking, drugging, smoking, things like that to help calm or quell those anxieties that they may be having. So if they do that, then that's going to lead to life problems, and then sometimes on the job problems, low academic achievement, just things like that that are going to alter their lives. So if we can see them early and we can provide trauma treatment, then we can teach them healthy coping mechanisms and how to deal with trauma and where to put the shame and the blame on for what has happened to them, whether it's physical abuse or sexual abuse or neglect. A lot of times kids take that on as being their fault. And we need to make sure that there's understanding psychoed for them and then healthy coping mechanisms once they get that information and work with a therapist. So if that happens, a lot of things in their lives that are negative can be prevented as they go on down the road to make decisions about their lives.
I really appreciate your time. I mean, this is just an
Absolutely.
incredible work that you're doing,
Thank you.
and the community is really grateful. So we appreciate you. I know I
Thank
just
you.
don't speak for myself. I know I speak for everybody that's watching this. So I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Okay, I'm going to go, and she's got a lot of important stuff to get to. So from me and her, we'll see you later.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.